Hey guys, what's up? Jason TheRedHeadHenry here, and today is a good day. Do you know why it's a good day? Because it's time for some After Effects tutorials. Okay, so this is really just sort of that like kind of fast fighting sort of effect. You'll notice here that I only have 3 layers. So I have my audio layer, my audio composition layer, my background, and one layer, which is Goku and Vegeta. How did he do that? Well, it's pretty simple. What you do is, what I did was I pre-composed all of those layers of Goku and Vegeta and essentially merge them into a single layer or into a single composition. So you can actually open this composition up by double-clicking it, and here you'll see, all of my layers of Goku and Vegeta. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I only made them do just a couple of poses, and then all you do is just, once you're done with your poses, you just select them all and hit CTRL D to duplicate them. So that's all I did to duplicate them out, for the rest of the 2 seconds of this composition. So it just keeps repeating over and over again. But I mean, this is a stage where you can kind of get creative. You can throw in as many poses as you want. You could make them really long, really short, however you want to do it. But the point is that if they're doing the really, really fast fighting, why have this super long stepping stone block of layers when you can just merge all the layers into one? So once they're all merged into a single composition, I mean, now you can mess around with the position. Maybe you want to have them start, maybe, I don't know, off screen, and then over a span of a second have them move off screen. So I mean, now like you're open to so much more options now that they're all merged into one layer. So yeah, that's what we're going to be creating today. So now that I have unlimited time, I can kind of, just sit back and relax as I do these tutorials without having to worry about this friggin' time limit. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to go ahead and, yeah, we'll just go ahead and do a new project here. No, I do not. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is go up to Composition, New Composition, and we'll just call this Main Comp. And we're going to make this an HD composition today, guys. So I'm feeling good about this unlimited YouTube time limit, so we're going to go HD this time. So make sure that you have a 1280 width by a 720 height. You're locked at a 16:9 aspect ratio. Square pixels, 30 frames a second, and it's a 2-second long composition, and then just say OK. Go up to Composition again, new one, and we're going to call this Audio. Make sure all your settings are the same. And now let's import in all of our stuff. And you guys will have the project files for this in the description of this video, so go ahead and download that. You'll get all the poses and sound effects and everything. Okay, so import in all those guys. And the background and the audio. So now let's get this organized. Audio folder, composition folder, sprites folder. I know I'm missing one. Oh yeah. BG for background. So put that planes in that background folder. Take our main comp and our audio comp and put that in the composition folder. Audio in the audio. And then actually we're going to create another folder. Call it Goku. Another folder. Call it Vegeta. And then take all these V sprites and put them into the Vegeta folder. And then take all of the G Goku sprites and put them in the Goku folder. And then take the Goku and Vegeta folder and put them in the sprites folder. And now we're just going to color code these things. So we're going to make Goku orange. And we'll make Vegeta blue. And let's see here. We'll make our audio composition gray. Our main comp, that's fine. Background, I'm going to go with this I go with brown and audio, that's fine. Okay, so everything is set up. Let's get this thing cranking. So we are going to go ahead and throw in our background, and then we're going to throw in our audio composition. So our audio comp underneath our background. Let's scale up this background. That's pretty good. We're going to lock the audio, and actually we're going to lock the background too. Actually, and while we're at it, we're just going to go ahead and take this pre-punch audio file, drop it right into the audio composition here, hit CTRL D to duplicate it, and we're just going to slide it over so it takes up the rest of that, and now we're done with our audio. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here with this. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to throw in Goku here. So we won't use that one. We're going to go with, that's fine, we'll go with this G Swift. And throw in Vegeta Elbow. I'm going to scale these guys up to 700. I'm going to go up to Effect, Keying, Color Key. And if you have both these layers selected and you use the color key, it should key them both out. Let's make them all pixelated. And we are just going to flip Vegeta horizontally. And let's turn on our guide here. Oh, I'm so excited, guys. I have all this time to do this now. So all you guys got to do is just bear with me. Maybe I'll timer map this. Whatever. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to page down 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Hit Shift Control D. Oops, make sure you have both your layers selected when you do that. And we're just going to delete those 2 long ones. That's good. And for this Vegeta layer, actually, let's move over with the anchor point. Okay. So Vegeta's attacking Goku. He's going to. So essentially, how I like to do the sort of fast fighting effect is you have, one person. So for this case, Vegeta's attacking Goku, and then the next frame will be a random pose, and then the frame after that will be Goku attacking Vegeta, then a random pose, and then Vegeta attacking Goku. So it just goes back and forth to make it seem like it's not one who's predominantly more stronger than the other, I guess. I mean, if that's the effect you're going for, that's good, but I want to make this look like, they're both equal in strength and they're both fighting each other. They're getting their hits. They're both getting their hits in and everything. So for this one, we're starting off with Vegeta. So let's go ahead and make Goku, make it look like he's ducking. So we're going to move the anchor point by his feet. Set a keyframe, page down 2 times, and we're just going to, whoops, make sure it's for your scaling options, guys. Hit S and page down 2 times, and then we're just going to unlink X and Y and just bring him down. Not that much. 600, that's good. And for Vegeta, we are going to make sure the anchor point's by his elbow. Mess with the scaling options for him. Unlink the X and Y axis. Set a keyframe at the beginning. Page down 2 times. And we're just going to bring him in around 600. That's fine. You don't want to go too extreme. And also what we're going to do is make sure you're on this last little bit here. Hit Shift Control D. And now we're just going to rotate him a little bit. So go ahead and hit R, and we're just going to kind of offset him. That's good. Now what we're going to want to do is with this first section of Vegeta, we're going to give him some motion blur. So I'm going to go over here to this Effects and Presets panel and just type in Blur. And we're just going to give him a fast blur. This is kind of like another way of doing motion blur without using the actual motion blur option. And you'll get these fast blur properties here. We're just going to mess with the horizontal blurriness, and we're just going to bump this up to around 8. and give him a solid line. So that looks pretty good. So now let's throw in this random pose I was talking about. I'm going to go with G stance 2. That looks pretty good. And for Vegeta, we'll do V stance 2 as well. Select them both, scale them up to 700. Go up to Effect, Keying, Color Key, and we'll just key out that background. Let's get these guys looking nice and crisp. And we'll just flip Vegeta horizontally. And this is going to only be, it's only going to last for one frame here. Page down one time, Shift Control D, delete them. So this is what we got going so far. Actually, this rotation on Vegeta is looking a little funky. So I am just going to put him back to 0, and I'm going to move the anchor point right in the middle of his body. And now I'm going to scale him up a little bit, or rotate him to around 16 degrees. That's fine. Looks a lot better now. Okay, so now let's do Goku attacking Vegeta. So we'll do G kick. And for Vegeta, we'll make it look like he is evading this. So the V block, or the V back, sorry. So let's scale these guys up to 700. Go up to Effect, Color Key, let's key out that background, pixelate these guys, the page down 3 times, 1, 2, 3, Shift Control D, backspace, that deletes that. Alright, so let's get these all positioned here. So I'm just going to rotate Vegeta again. Let's bring Goku down. Now, since Goku, the way I like to kind of do this is, since Goku is attacking, his layer should be on top of Vegeta's. Usually, depending on what you're doing, whoever's attacking the other person, that layer should always be on top of the other layer. So you'll notice for the first one, Vegeta was attacking Goku, his layer is on top of Goku. And then in this one, Goku is on top of Vegeta. So that's just kind of like a rule of thumb. So let's kind of get these guys lined up here. That's good. So same thing as before, we're just going to page down 2 times, 1, 2, and go ahead and just hit Shift Control D on the Goku layer, and we're just going to rotate him. Actually, we'll do it, rotate him up a little bit. Say around, go ahead and rotate him -12. And then on this Goku layer here, go ahead and throw in that fast blur. And we'll make the blurriness 8. Oops. Make sure that you choose horizontal. And just go ahead and make it a solid line here. That's pretty good. And for Vegeta, we're going to mess with his scaling options here. Make sure you move the anchor point behind his hand. And go ahead and hit S. Unlink X and Y. Set a keyframe. Page down 2 times. And we'll just move him back, say around 650. That's good. We're going to do one more random pose here because I don't want you guys to get bored of this. So just to get the point across, we will do, what did I use? Go ahead and use this G stance 3. And we'll also use I guess we'll just use this V block. Page down 1 time, make sure both are selected, Shift Control D, so now it's just one pose. So we're going to scale these guys up, 700. Go to Effect, Keying, Color Key. Key out that background. Let's make them all nice and crisp here. And let's get them all lined up. So that's fine. So this is what we have going so far. Okay, so now you guys can be as detailed as you want. I mean, you can keep going and throwing in different poses, but you get the idea. This is just kind of the way, one of the ways, I guess, I like to do it to make it look good. Now, what we're going to do here is you'll notice that we kind of have this stepping stone effect. So if you were to continue doing this, it would look kind of weird. So we're going to pre-compose all of these layers. So I'm just going to select all of the Goku and Vegeta layers, and we're going to go up to Layer, Pre-Compose. And you're going to want to make sure that you have Move All Attributes into the New Composition selected. And we are just going to call this Fast Fight. And just say OK. So now what that did was it took all those layers and put them essentially into a new layer. So it's all in a new composition that's already in our composition folder called Fast Fight. So we can just go ahead and open this up, double click it, and we're going to select all of these layers. And just go ahead and hit CTRL D. That duplicates them. We're just going to move them up and move them over. So you see how I did that? So now it looks like it just repeats. So in a way, it's like you're kind of creating an animated GIF. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. CTRL D. Move it up and move this over. So now I'm going to select all of these just to kind of save time. Control D, move them up, move this over, so now we're at, that's fine, Control D again, move them up, and move it over. So everything's lined up here, all the stepping stones are all lined up, so it takes up the whole 2 seconds of this composition. So now we can preview out this whole composition here. Hey, what do you know? That looks pretty awesome. So now, I mean, you could really do whatever you want. So you say you wanted them to come in, I don't know, from the left. So go ahead and hit position, or hit P to bring up your position. Set a keyframe. We'll just move them off screen. And say 10 frames over. We'll move them over like that. And we'll go up to, say, 25 frames. Set another keyframe. Then go over to 1 second. And we'll just kind of maybe move them up here and throw in just a little bit of randomness with the rotation. You guys don't have to do this. This is just an example. So let's preview out. That looked pretty bad. But you get the idea. So now you can add, instead of doing that with each individual frame and everything here, it's all just in one layer. It makes it so much easier. Now, there are some ups and downs to pre-composing things. I don't know if you guys can tell, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to delete all these keyframes. Now you'll notice that when you pre-composed all those layers, some of the layers we made pixelated or wireframed, and other layers were a solid line, or they had that nice smooth motion blur like feel to it, like Goku is here and Vegeta's pixelated. Well, in reality, Vegeta looks pixelated because we haven't messed with the scaling options here. If you mess with the scaling options, you guys will see, I'll zoom in here, that he isn't really fully pixelated. He looks that way, but he really isn't. So if you were to pixelate this layer by making it a wireframe, now he looks fully pixelated. However, on the flip side, if you scale this thing back down, now Goku isn't that smooth kind of blurriness effect. So when you do it, you do just have to be aware of these sorts of things. Now I'm just going to hit Control Z until I get that back to how it was. So I mean, that's just kind of once you mess with this layer, I guess so to say, by changing it from its default value to this pixelated one, then everything becomes pixelated, right? But then it's kind of hard to explain. And then when you go back, now everything's blurry. So I mean, I guess don't mess with the with that unless you really just you want them to have that kind of look or feel. But I mean, it's just something to be aware of. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you got at least something out of this. I know it was kind of just rambling a lot, but I mean, the techniques are there, and yeah, this is pretty much